Welcome to our special show, Tryst with Tax. But how is GST going to affect you? Let's take a look inside a grocery store and check how this new tax regime will impact your daily shopping budget.
I'm out with my shopping basket here in Indirapuram in this departmental store of AB Marsh, and we're trying to figure out what goes expensive, what goes cheaper in this shopping basket. With me is Priyajit Ghosh, who's partner indirect tax with KPMG India. Priyajit, thanks for taking out time for our little shopping here.
Yeah, even I'm excited about it. Let's see what we have.
Usually I do this shopping alone, but for soaps, if I have to buy a soap, now, after GST, before GST, what is the impact on soaps?
So good news on soap, because soap is getting at 18%. Today you're paying almost 23-24% of tax, so possibly good news on GST.
Let's see if the shampoos get cheaper or more expensive. What happens to the shampoos?
The shampoo is getting marginally expensive, almost about 2 to 3% expensive.
Now, if we talk about oil right now, Priyajit, what happens to oil? 5%?
Yes, 5%. And the government has made a little concession on this. And this is going to be cheaper. And this is something that we'll all consume more than what you've got right now. So this is a good news, and then possibly lighter on your pocket.
Okay, lighter on my pocket, heavier on the basket. No worries there. I'm happy at least something is cheaper for daily use. And rice? What about rice?
Yes, so rice, the branded ones gets expensive a little bit, 5%. We don't have tax today. But it's not going to be expensive by 5% because there'll be some input tax credit. So expect about 2% rise in the price.
2% rise on rice?
Yes, 2% rise.
And atta I can see here, but here is the catch. It's an unbranded atta. And we do know that cereals and wheat has been exempted from GST. So good news here?
Yes, again good news. No impact on the atta. You pay as much as you're paying before GST.
All right, my monthly shopping, it seems, is getting done right away with this show as well. All right, pulses. If you want to have pulses, source of protein, is the government willing to give us some relief on this one?
Yes, so pulses are again exempt because this is an item of mass consumption, and this is where the expensive product are subsidizing the product of the masses. So good news on pulses as well.
Okay, good news on pulses. There we go. But one thing I can't live and start my morning without is tea. Now, where is tea here? Let's see. Tea is somewhere here. Yes. So what happens to tea? If I want to buy tea, what happens?
So we all live on tea, and this is getting at 5%, which is going to be cheaper than what we are paying today. So good news, as you get up, have a cup of tea, and that's good news.
Okay, if you're a coffee person, what happens in the morning? Is it you'll be getting up with paying more for each cup of coffee every morning if I want to have coffee?
Precisely. So this is getting at 28%, and this is a little expensive than all the other products that we've spoken so far.
Okay, I might as well buy coffee right now then. Makes more sense. Okay, and I must admit I'm not much of a cook, very lazy. So if I want to make cup of noodles. Now, cup of noodles, if I want to make, how much do I pay for this pack of noodles?
18% again. Yeah, 18% again, slightly expensive. And the money is going to go into the other product that we're going to kind of look forward
So it doesn't pay to be lazy. That's the takeaway from here. So what happens with cold drink then? Because it's literally under a sin tax category. Not only the GST tax, but there's also a cess that's been put on cold drinks.
Yes, so cold drinks are taxed at different rates by different state governments. All over India, it's going to be expensive.
Expensive. So clearly, not part of my GST, right? These two. I'm not buying them. It's going to take some time before the eventual smoothening, but one nation, one tax, definitely a major tax reform from the Modi government. Priyajit, let's get this cash. And thanks for watching, because this is the GST basket. I hope now you know what's expensive, what's cheaper post-GST.
Well, the three essentials for any person: roti, kapda and makan. We've told you about the roti. Now let's tell you about the makan. How is GST going to impact the real estate sector?
Shashi Kotian and Jasmine are married since last 11 years. They are staying in their existing 1 BHK flat from past 9 years. As their family has grown, they were looking for bigger house. When they booked their dream house 6 months back, they did not realize the GST impact they will face this year. This couple is worried now and calculating funds which they had kept for emergency and invested in schemes.
After suddenly of demonetization and something, if you suddenly implement GSTs and any such sort of thing, it is going to be it is going to affect the businessmen as well as the common people. Like if you see my situation today, I mean, like either I have to lose my 20-40 lakhs or I have to pay down something around 60-70 lakhs. Where do I get it from?
GST has been applied in under-construction projects in the real estate sector, where service tax has been increased from 4.5% to 12%. Though the government claims that input tax credit will be given to builders on the raw materials, which should neutralize the hike in service tax to the buyers, the reality differs.
Whatever input credit we are going to get it, and whatever we are going to charge the customer, there is going to be a gap in between. So whatever the gap is there, that customer will have to bear it, because it's none of the developers is expected to bear that cost. So 101% it is going to pass on to the consumer itself.
Already the government has issued a stern warning that any builder trying to fleece buyers under the garb of GST service tax hike will be dealt with strictly.
My question has been on also from the salaried class point of view, because home buyers, what do they do if their projects are still under construction, service tax gone up there?
The real estate side, we have already clarified that a builder or any person from whom you have already purchased and project is under construction, not delivered, he is getting lot of input credits also, and which were not available up till him. Moment you take into account those credits, there should be no addition to the prices, and that should not increase, that builder should not come up with an increase in price.
On one hand, government is speaking about affordable housing and RERA so that builders cannot cheat them and people will get their houses in stipulated time and in affordable prices. But on other hand, the implementation of GST is certainly going to affect the budget of customers, because this time he has to pay or shell out more from his own pocket. In Mumbai with camera person Kiran Sapkal, Mayuresh Ganpate for India Today.
And everyone looks forward to eating out with their families over the weekend. Bad news is this will get more expensive. Why will that happen? Find out in this report.
Well, we are at a corporate lunch hub here in Delhi. Everyone has taken a break from their busy routine, and here's what we have on the table: an idli. As you can see, a salad. But right next to it is a burger, which he's having. So it's a diet, and you have a fatty food right here and paratha. So we have a mixture. So you're eating an idli out here. Do you know how much you've paid?
Yeah, so it costed me 89 rupees, and the basic cost was 74, and rest was the tax.
So do you know that this particular ambience with an AC will have now a tax of 18%? So essentially
the same.
Essentially the same over here, because she's chosen to have burger with this cold drink. So going ahead, this cold drink will charge a sin tax. There's something called a sin tax, which means the government doesn't want you eating junk, darling. They don't want you eating junk. That's why this particular cold drink, the price is set to go up. Would you still be having cold drinks then?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Money, millennials, they have all the money in the world to spend on cold drinks, on food as well. But here you have, interestingly, and I want my camera person to focus here, there's a curd on the table. Now, do you know that right now, milk has been exempted from the GST?
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Milk and food grains and a lot of essentials.
Yes, so milk, food grains from which paratha is being made has been exempted. So here's where the point comes in, that if these retailers choose to do so, they can pass the benefit to consumers like us. So you can have this entire thali at a lower price. That's a good news.
That's a good news, yeah.
That's a good news. But going ahead, your phone bills are going to get more expensive. So will you make less number of calls? Will you use your data more wisely?
It's a trick question, because mostly the plans are like unlimited usage now. So irrespective of how much more or less you use in terms of calling and data, bill is going to be the same. Yes, bill will rise a little.
But you will have to make those essential calls. Do you believe now the mobile company should get you more discounts and offers so that it is more viable going ahead to use these mobile phones?
They should do it on the wish list, but considering what they're going through right now, prices are rock bottom. I don't think they can cut anymore.
Alright, we have another plate on the table. I will go and join them. But thanks for joining us.
All right, thinking about buying a TV or a fancy car or an air conditioner or any of the white goods, we tell you now how GST will impact your big ticket purchases.
Well, hi there. I'm listening to music, but will GST bring music to your ears after it's rolled out for all the electronic products you want to buy? Let's take you through it. With me is Priyajit here. Hi, Priyajit. He's an indirect tax partner with KPMG India, and you're busy looking at a laptop. Now tell me frankly, are you thinking of buying one?
Yes, I'm thinking of buying one, and what I figured out is good news that the prices are not changing. In fact, it is from 17 to it is becoming 18, which is very marginal, nothing much to talk about.
An okay news for many. But what about phones? Now these are all fancy phones. I don't think so I can afford any one of them in my salary. But if you want to buy a phone, where do you see the change? I mean, do we pay more for it?
So good news for the phone users, because government has realized the importance of mobile penetration, and they put it at 12% rate, and currently it almost gets about 15 to 16% rate. So mobile phones are going to be cheaper.
We also have some customers out here. Let's see what they say. You're here to buy a television. So good time before GST. Are you deciding the purchase before the GST?
Yeah, correct. Because I think after GST, the prices are going to get sold up. As it is proposed that 28% will be levied on the luxurious items.
So what about washing machine, Priyajit? You need washing machines to literally wash your dirty laundry busy lives. And will washing machine will be getting more expensive or cheaper?
This gets into a basket of electronic goods, which is like more like one-time purchase. And this is where the government has put it at 28, just like TV.
Hot summer, you need a cool glass of water, a double-door fridge, and a frost-free fridge. Full takes all that. The category, Priyajit. What about the fridge now? Pay more or pay less after GST?
Pay more, just like any other two products that we discussed.
All right, so if I want to buy a phone and want to pay it, say, from my credit card, Priyajit, now that means that I'm paying more for each banking transaction.
Yes, so you would be paying more, and the banks have already started sending SMS to get you prepared to pay more in the GST.
So keeping up with our GST, decoding it for you. Now we're here at a car showroom. Let's see if this flashy drive will be expensive for you come GST or not. Will you have to pay more for this amazing car? It looks like a mid-segment car. Right now I have my tax expert with me. Aditya Agarwal is joining us. Aditya, the car matches your shirt. So should we take it home? Will it be more expensive right now before GST, or will it be more expensive after GST?
So it will be less expensive post GST because of the rate structure that has been released by the GST Council.
But this is the mid-segment car. Now let's take a look at the SUV, because the cess has gone up on the SUV card in the GST. So in spite of the cess, is there a good news for SUVs?
For the same, there's a good news. So even if you are buying a SUV, it gets cheaper.
But in India, we also use bikes a lot. So two-wheelers, let's talk about two-wheelers. What happens to two-wheelers?
So two-wheelers will, so it's a bad news for the two-wheelers. The prices will go up post GST. So it's a little bad news for bike riders.
So bike, scooters, prices going up, but for cars, the good news. I'm all set for a ride. Thanks for joining in.
Will the goods and services tax also impact on your digital payments via debit cards, Paytm wallet, etc.? Here's Devina simplifying all of that.
As India gets ready for the boldest tax reform, the habit of swiping your card for every purchase may become more expensive. With service tax going up from 15% to 18%, banking services are set to feel the tax heat. So, from using your debit card to credit cards, you have to pay more.
If I want to buy a phone and want to pay it, say, from my credit card, Priyajit, now that means that I'm paying more for each banking transaction.
Yes, so you would be paying more, and the banks have already started sending SMS to get you prepared to pay more in the GST.
So, even when you want to withdraw cash from your ATM, the service tax has gone up for extra transactions beyond the 5-time limit for your ATM and 3 from other banks.
If I have to pay for this cup of tea from my digital wallet, like a Paytm or a MobiKwik, is it going to be more cost effective?
Yeah, post GST it will be more cost effective, because right now if you see, if you pay anything by a debit card or a credit card, the bank charges you a small amount, a minimal amount of bank charges. So the tax rate is 15% right now, but post GST that rate is 18%.
Even your loan processing fees and online funds transfer will cost higher under the new tax Raj, with almost 2.5% difference. And if you want to get a new checkbook, well, pay more. So with digital wallets getting a push in GST, Will consumers be willing to adapt the e-wallets for high-end purchases? Perhaps it's time for old habits to change now.
The government is confident that beginning the 1st of July, implementation of the GST is going to be smooth, but the fact is that there are challenges that remain. Traders, of course, want more time for compliance. Women activists also are demanding relaxation on the tax limit on sanitary pads. Here's a roundup of what could be the possible hurdles for the GST.
A chakka jam in the capital. Traders out on the streets. A full swing protest from Delhi to Asansol, registering their protest for the new tax regime under the goods and service tax. In Mumbai's biggest cloth market at Kalba Devi, traders protesting against the tax rate hike and demanding more time for compliance with the new digital tax system.
We have come over here in Mumbai's Kalba Devi area to see that how traders are prepared for it, whether traders are really prepared for it and what kind of problems they are going to face and how they are looking at the GST. So we have come over here in the textile market. Basically, this is a textile trader. Kavira Fashion is the name of the this shop. Let's go across to the trader himself and ask him what exactly is he is thinking about the GST.
There is no awareness. We are not prepared at all. It was just suddenly when we can say that it was the bomb attack on us.
मैं टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री में उनको समझाना चाहता हूं कि ये गलतफहमी है. ये गलतफहमी है कि आप पे टैक्स पहले लागू नहीं था. आप पे टैक्स लागू था, लेकिन जो अंत में जो ग्राहक था, जो आपका एंड कस्टमर था, उसको नहीं पता चल रहा था कि वो टैक्स लागू है, क्योंकि वो हिडन टैक्स था.
In Chandigarh, chemist shops now playing wait and watch game before they buy fresh stocks. They first want clarity on impact of GST on essential medicine.
अभी फ्रेश स्टॉक अभी कुछ थोड़ा देख के परचेज कर रहे हैं ताकि उसके हिसाब से कैसे हमने सेल करनी है या उसके हिसाब से अगर बचता है तो उसके ऊपर क्या GST पे कितना करना हमने कितना नहीं करना. ऐसा कुछ लग रहा है कि नहीं है.
In Kolkata, traders out on the streets as the crucial e-way bill is delayed, where the businesses will need to generate an e-way bill to move goods worth over rupees 50,000 from one state to the other.
What is the GST going to do? Every time you send a good to another state, the whole input tax credit structure instantaneously by computers has to work out. And it only tests 200 cases per state. I had asked for a white paper in 10 days for preparedness. Where is that white paper?
Even women activists are seeing red over the proposed tax rate of the sanitary napkin, which will get more expensive in the GST regime.
Gold is taxed 3% and sanitary napkin is taxed 12%. So what is the logic? Because you have to see that all these women who are suffering from all kinds of illnesses because of the use of all kinds of different material that they use, cloth that they use.
So from compliance to the new system, to clarity and chorus for lower tax rate, there is a long way before one nation, one tax becomes the people's tax. Bureau Report, India Today.